Once you fully master NLP language patterns and once it has become completely automatic for you, you can solve conflicts with anyone much more easily. You can help a friend whenever that person is in some need of help, and you can also use your language to establish better boundaries, better frontier with people who try to grab too much from you or who try to not respect you. And you can make them respect you much more by the way you communicate. Before you get there, though, there is going to be some learning curve, obviously, which is what everyone hates because everyone wants the results in just one day, you included and myself included maybe. And actually you are going to go through a curve like this, where you are going to stagnate for some time despite taking action. Then at some point, yes, there will be an inflation and you are going to arrive on another plateau, but where you have much more skills and you feel like everything is so easy. So then you can just speak fluently, any kind of sleight of mouth patterns you have learned, all of that. One big trouble with people who are experts at something is that they are on the red spot, and when they try to teach somebody who is still on the green spot, they kind of miss, they have forgotten a lot of the details that the person at the green spot needs to hear. The good news, though, with me, for example, is that I keep challenging myself into new skills I am still a beginner into. One of them is singing, that I really definitely never release on this channel or anywhere because it is so bad so far. I know. Judging myself, as you can see, I'm still a beginner, and therefore I can identify with, okay, the people who learn the skills I am an expert at, what do they really need? And that is the purpose also of this channel, to providing the tools to people who are just starting or have a bit of experience, but it is still confusing, they miss the most important points. And one such a discovery I arrived at when I translated what does it feel to be a beginner for me right now, and how can I therefore help people who learn from me, I noticed a huge component is how much are you going to be able to suppress completely, to eradicate conscious thinking, or should I say conscious overthinking, when you are about to practice, about to use language patterns or anything you want to use that could improve your skills. How much can you dissociate from any kind of thinking at the moment you practice? Obviously, you think when you rehearse, when you learn theoretically, but when it is time to practice, a huge part of the game in learning anything is how can you shut down that monkey mind so that you just go do it and deal with whatever result you are getting from the person you try to influence. A huge component behind that is the active momentum. Basically, the more you take action, the more your brain fires off new ideas, breakthroughs, and more micro skill sets you don't even know about, which means the more you take action, the more the ideas you miss right now, or the understandings you currently miss, are going to happen automatically. They are going to happen outside of your conscious awareness, and at some point you are going to get into a conversation. If we talk about language patterns, you are going to get into a conversation where you have used all the right material, the right techniques, and you don't even know where you pulled that from. This is known as the Hebbian theory of learning. Basically, neurons that fire together, wire together. The more you're engaged in a particular action or skill, the more the brain develops and amplifies the neural pathways associated with that activity, making it easier to generate ideas, acquire new skills, and initiate new breakthroughs. That is definitely what I wanted to talk about in this video. So you have this curve where the more action you take, the less you are going to feel the pressure of doing it. And as you can see here, many of the things that seem elusive or very confusing because you don't really figure out how should I respond to that person, what should I say to this girl, whatever, those things are going to accelerate down the road. There's going to be a moment where all those black cross, there are the ideas or the breakthroughs you're getting, or the new understandings for, this is how I should do this is how I should say that, those things are going to accelerate the more you take action. And down the road, if we come back to the original learning curve, you are not even going to stop there. Someone like me, for example, is already there, where you have been through so many comfort zones again and again, and so many inflection points that you don't even think anymore. Everything is automatic, and you even unlock new skills you didn't know were possible. At my level in language patterns, at my level at this point, it is not even about language skills, because I don't really see any improvement in that anymore. It is about reading people. Now, the first sentence someone says, even sometimes before they open their mouth, I kind of already know how the conversation is going to go. I kind of already know what they are going to feel, what they are going to think ahead of time. I can't plan the whole conversation, but I can plan like the first few minutes already just by looking at somebody. Those are like the higher skills you'd unlock down the road. So before telling you exactly how to practice with those language patterns, the biggest thing that is going to happen is not so much that you become smarter or you become cleverer or you just have better ideas. It's not even about an improvement, so to speak. It is about losing the mental stress and losing the mental fog that paralyzes you at this point. When people think too much, they just put on a whole shitload of added covers, of added layers on the onion that prevent them from being creative, from acting spontaneously, from acting unconsciously, which is the best reservoir of new learnings, when you let the unconscious do. But if you try to control and understand everything that you are doing at the moment you speak, that is just causing a brain fog and distancing yourself from the next level. You're preventing yourself from being creative enough to access the next level because you're paralyzing yourself, your skills, through too many thoughts at the same time. If we even push on that idea, so many people prevent themselves from changing, from evolving in that field or anywhere, because they rehearse in their head stories about why do I not succeed? Why am I less advanced than Matteo or Bendler or whoever you want to compare yourself to? They keep telling stories to themselves about why they will never get it or why they failed in the past, which is just reinforcing a really negative loop. So once you stop that conscious overthinking, you also eradicate to some extent those negative stories about why are you so bad at this, why will you never master this, why so many people are better than you at this. Then you can just evaporate yourself away from that. Therefore, and sorry for this enhanced theoretical analysis of how learning works, just a side topic I'm passionate about, since the main state an expert finds themselves in is a state of mental clarity, because they have less anxiety, reduced overthinking, they just get into a state of calm, assertive clarity. Then we want to practice within a state that is as close as possible as this one. Obviously, we can't fake experience. No one can. You still need to practice to get experience. But if you can practice, when you can practice within a state of mind, of emotions that is as close as possible to the state an expert is naturally in once he has got 10 years of experience, the more you are going to accelerate your learning and get through all those black cross faster and faster, because you will think less between the actions you need to take so that you get results. Specifically, if we talk about language patterns, those actions are just you find one person, you want to influence that person to think about one specific idea. You can take any topic you naturally discuss during your everyday life. You can talk about politics eventually, even if that is going to inflate the conversation. But let's say you take politics, you take seduction if it is a girl you want to seduce, you take sales if you are a salesperson, you take your family members, maybe not in a confrontational way, but people you might interact with every day. You just take one person every day and you test one thing with that person. Or if you are a salesperson or somebody who has the chance to meet different people during the day, you plan a specific time ahead of time, a specific time slot, time frame during which you are going to fire the right encore that we are going to talk about now. you fire that encore so that your brain gets into the right state just before practicing. Once you are in the right state, you are going to take more action, gather more experience because you overthink less, and you are going to increase the clarity and the creativity because of less stress, increase the creativity, spontaneous creativity, natural creativity that happens for people who are not anxious about the results. You get there faster. Specifically, what this state is about, what I like to call it, is the take no prisoner state. Just my personal bullshit, no need to copy that, make up your own, just the way I like to call it. I used to develop that state through songs, listening to songs, repeating certain affirmations that were really for me an echo of that kind of state. The take no prisoner state is when you don't care anymore about the results, especially the thing you are going to do no matter what happens. So using archetypes like military is a great example, or fighters, because this is the kind of situations where you need to shut down the brain and just go do it, because otherwise you might get dead or in jail or whatever. So obviously we don't get that far here, it is not the point, but if you can trigger in yourself a state where you can associate with the kind of person who would anyway go do that thing they need to do with no apologies, and you fire that encore at the very moment where you are going to practice your language patterns, your sleight of mouth, or whatever you want, your conversational skills, then you will become so much more creative during those moments, because you develop in that way a window of practice, a small window during which you are going to be much more productive, much more creative therefore, and much more confident, or at least courageous about what you want to accomplish with those people you want to influence. Practicing using those language patterns within the right state will drastically enhance the amount of insights you are going to get about what are you doing wrong and what do you need to improve. And when in the right state, you judge yourself much less. Same thing, less judging, less overthinking, more increased clarity and less stress. Therefore, you practice longer, and or at least you practice better, and you practice more often. Because somebody who had one really bad experience then wants to stop practicing. But somebody who felt great, courageous when he or she was practicing, that person will be much more encouraged to keep practicing the next day or the next week or whenever they can. And in terms of the specific language patterns you need to put into use, you have a document down below to use 7 different types of language patterns for 7 types of situations. You just use the one that relates the most to you personally right now, and you go apply it with the right encore. You fire the encore first, and then you just use one of the patterns described in this manual, accessible down below, the 7 steps to master sleight of mouth, and then you go in the streets, at your job, with people you know, whoever it is, we don't care, even just a friend you practice with, anyone, you attempt to use one of those patterns with the goal of changing their state into something more positive. You want them to feel positive, or you want to help them, maybe helping them to dissociate from some negative memories they have, but just something where you attempt to give them some positive mood during that day. That's all. And you practice with as many people as you can during the small window of time where you have fired the encore, you're ready to go, you want to go there, and from there all the clarity will unveil itself, you will become much more creative, and you will discover many more insights about how to use those language patterns that will make you a much better communicator faster than you may have even thought you could become.